Leaders, real life leaders.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. And I'm so excited. I'm here with Russ Morgan, and I love his website and his whole title about everything he does. And before we get started, I want to tell you, so Russ, just so you know, I had this account that I put money in, and I had put like $25,000 into the account and then just kind of forgot about it. And then it was probably like, I don't know, 10 years ago that I put this money in, and I just looked at it again because I just forgot about the money, and it had like $25,600, something ridiculous. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that is crazy that I put $25,000 in. I'm basically have $25,000. And his website, you guys, is called Wealth Without Wall Street. And so I'm so excited that he's here. So Russ, welcome.
Thank you so much. And I hate to hear that, but unfortunately, it's not the first time. I've been in the financial industry since 2004. So I've heard that so many times. And it's definitely what drove my business partner and I to start this brand in 2017, because we were like, people need another option. They're just not being given them.
Yeah. And people are more and more wanting passive income, and people work incredibly hard to make active income, but few people have a plan to replace that income with passive streams. And the only passive stream that a lot of people even know about is the stock market. And they think about Wall Street, but maybe they're like me and they're like, I didn't make any money. I put 25,000 in and now I've got either 23,000 or just a little bit more. And so they're frustrated.
Well, the most passive business is the financial advisory space, who gets paid off monthly income streams off the asset management fees off that 25 grand. So you haven't made anything, but I promise you, the people that were managing it did. And yeah, here's the thing that, I know that your podcast covers so many topics, and I love that you're teaching people that there has to be a system, there has to be a way. And if what you have been doing haven't given you more of what you want, then what is the alternative? And so for us, we see that financial freedom is not defined when you have, 7-8 figures in some magical account. It's actually when your passive income exceeds your monthly expenses. And right now, as you're driving down the road, you're running on a treadmill, whatever you're doing, you know and can know exactly how close to financial freedom you are by doing this one simple thing. Just take all the passive income, that's money that's coming in from things that you are not actively working for, and divide that number by how much your monthly expenses are. So if you have $1,000 a month coming in and you're spending $10,000 a month, you know that you're 10% of the way there. And the beauty of that is maybe you're 0%, maybe you're at 100%, but it gives you a goal. It helps you understand what the framework is, and now you can start making decisions based upon it.
So good. So let me ask you, from your experience, where do most people get stuck when they're trying to build wealth? Like, why do so many high income earners just stay trapped in that earn and spend cycle, and even people who are making really great money, but they just feel stuck?
100%. That is one of the major issues that we have. It doesn't matter. It's not an income problem. Chantel, it's not how much money we make. It's how much money that we have access to that we can put to work for us. I figured this out a long time ago, is that there's all these money traps that we've been taught to put our money in. And the number one obstacle to becoming financially free is not income, is lack of access to cash. So we put money in the stock market. Well, they're like, oh, well, I can go get it, Russ. I could call that person. But here's the thing, is that I used to be an investment advisor. I was a certified financial planner. And what I learned is nobody takes money out of the stock market. When it's going up, you don't want to take it out because you're afraid that it's going to keep going up. You don't take it out when it's going down because you're afraid that now you're going to lock it in. And so you ride that roller coaster. That's one of the biggest places. Or if you're working in some company that gives you a 401k, IRA, or whatever, you lock money up in it till you're 59 and a half. And so there's all these places that people stick money, and we call them money traps, that prevent them from getting access to it. And so I always say, if you can know if it's a trap, if A, it doesn't produce a passive income, or B, you can't use it to pay off a debt that would reduce a monthly expense, because that's the only two ways you can become financially free, is creating passive income that reduce monthly expenses. So when you start assessing where your money is, if it's not doing one of those two things or both, you know that it's stuck in a place that's not helping you get closer to what you want.
Well, one of the things I love about you is that, I wrote the book, Delegate Everything But Sex. And if you're going to delegate anything, you have to have systems and processes, and you have to run it like an operating system, like it's a business. Even when you have passive income, you want to have a playbook for your money. So I want you to talk about kind of some of the key pillars of the system that you've built and how do they work together?
I love that. What a great title, by the way. And I'm going to give you a ton of things, but I know that sometimes you have to be visual to see it. So if you go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/Chantel Ray, I'm going to give you the ebook. There's a webinar, all this that will give you all the visuals behind what we'll talk about. But yeah, we created this system. We call it the passive income operating system. And just like you said, as a business owner, we have to be able to inspect what we expect, right? If you don't know how to do it, then how can you expect it's going to be done well with someone else? And it's probably the reason why up to this point with money, we haven't been that successful because we've delegated it because we didn't want to do it, but also we didn't know how to do it. And it doesn't matter for us. We understand that our money has to get out of traps. We have to have a personal profit and loss statement. We have to have a hub for our accounts where the dollars can go in that we can leverage them to start buying assets. We have to know how to become a good investor. We have to know, does that mean, what's my investor DNA? What's the buy box? Do I have a good due diligence checklist? Do I have a place that I can produce passive income? For some of us, we have to get rid of some of these debts that we've accumulated that are actually preventing us from getting closer to what we want. Or if you're super successful and you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax, you got to be able to inspect what you expect with your taxes. So our passive income operating system is designed to go through each one of those pillars and get you more of what you want. And ultimately, in the end, create autopilot. So passive income doesn't mean uninvolved. It means we're going to work up front actively to create the passivity on the back end.
So good. I want you to be really practical right now. And, for me, obviously, I'm in real estate and I know real estate like the back of my hand. And so I love doing things in that space, right? Because that's my wheelhouse. So it's like if someone tries to kind of get over on me, it's hard to because I know that space so well. So you could get over on me in an area that I don't know as well. So talk about that. Give us some real practical areas, like give us some examples so people can, they can kind of touch it, feel it of what you're kind of explaining.
Here's some simple, just like things you can do immediately. I think one of the things is just write down on a piece of paper where all your money is and ask yourself those questions. Does whatever this thing is, stock, real estate, business, whatever, 401k, 529 plan, whatever your financial things that you're putting money in, say, is it giving me a passive income or is it reducing a monthly expense? So just doing that alone will open up your eyes. Okay, these are accounts that I need to move. The second thing I would tell you very practically is that most people get paid from their business that either they're working in or they own, and they put it into a personal account and they try to make that account the superhero of accounts, meaning it's meant to do all the saving, the investing, the spending. You got your Netflix, you got your mortgage payment, the next vacation funds coming out of it. And it creates the most confusion, which prevents you from being able to save and invest. So I would say, get rid of that account as the sole account that receives money from your businesses. I would make that account your expense account, and I would take every dollar that you get paid every single month, and I would send it to another account. So just go down to your bank and open up a checking account, call it your income account. And let's just pretend you're making 30 grand a month and you put 30 grand into that account. And then when you need to pay bills from that account that you already have that has all the bill pays and direct deposits and stuff coming out of it, then you send money from your income account to that. And if you do that for a full month, what you'll learn is how much your monthly expenses are. And I will say most of us as entrepreneurs, we're not really great with the details, right? And so we don't know how much money we're spending. Well, how can you become financially free if you don't know how much expenses you have? Because the only way you can become financially free is if you can get the passive income to exceed that number. So by doing that, you're going to immediately learn what your expenses are. And hopefully out of the 30 grand a month that you're putting into that account, you're spending less. So let's just say you're doing really good. You're only spending 25,000 of the 30 grand that you bring in. So now you have $5,000 of free cash flow. And you said, I'm not going to go put it back up into those money trap accounts. I've got to put it somewhere. And so this is where I would tell you to go open up a second checking account. You're going to call this your investment hub. This is going to be where you're getting the money out of your personal account so that now you can start looking for assets that you can buy with that $5,000 a month. And maybe you have to build it up. But what I would determine is most people have money in all these other money traps. They eventually figure out how to start shifting it into their hub, and then they can start buying assets. So those two things alone, go start 2 checking accounts. And I promise you, you will save and invest more money than you ever have just by doing that.
Let me ask you a quick question on that. So
Yeah.
let's say rental properties for just a second. Let's pretend that you have a property manager that runs it. And, one of the things that I talk about in my book is like my property manager, unless something is like over $1,000, he doesn't even come to me. So like, he doesn't even bother me and say, hey, the toilet is out or this is out. Like if it's not more than $1,000, I don't want to know about it. Just fix it, move on. So it is pretty passive in the sense that I don't get any phone calls. I'm not doing anything for it. He runs everything. I just get a check in that account. And there's other people who are like, well, yeah, but you still have to plan. You have to pay for accounting and stuff like that. Would you count that if you had rental properties that you had a property manager in your mind? Would you count that as passive income?
Yeah, for sure. So what you're asking is once we have that money in that investment hub, what do we invest in? And then is it passive or is it not? And so if you're actively having to work for it, then I would say no, right? I mean, some of us have businesses. I mean, I'm a big B business owner. So Robert Kiyosaki has the cash flow quadrant, and he says,
Right.
solo entrepreneur, self-employed. We think we have a business, but if we go on vacation, we quit working, money quits coming in at some point. A big B business owner is where others are working for the money, and it continues to work and operate even sometimes better when we're not in the business. There's businesses that are connected to us, and there's business that, even though we have experience and influence in it, that can run without us. So that would be one of those for you, in my opinion, a big B business or potentially an investment. What most people say is, should I invest? Oh, Chantel Ray's doing that. That sounds good. I should probably do that. And that's the mistake I made early on, because I had friends that had hundreds and hundreds of rental properties, and they were very successful. And I thought, okay, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just do what they're doing. So I went and bought one rental property, right? Like go ahead and dip my toe in, see how it works, and then start buying more. I hated it. And I thought, if I hate it with this one, why would I go buy 99 more of it? That doesn't seem like fulfilling. And so for 11 years, Chantel Ray, it cost me from becoming financially free. And I didn't know why. And it wasn't until I learned that we all have this thing called investor DNA. It's things that we internally like, things that we want to do. And for me, I like to be involved. I like to influence. And I bought this property in a town that I didn't live in, that I couldn't influence how many times it could be rented. And I was like, yeah, it was passive. I wasn't doing anything. I was getting a check, but it was like, it didn't really fill me up. And so when I talk to people about investments, they say, which one should I do? I go, you should do the one that's connected to your investor DNA. And so I know people who own hundreds and hundreds of rental properties because they're fed by that, because they love doing a certain thing and they love that being passive. It's connected to who they are. One of the first things I did, Chantel Ray, is that I was like, okay, I know real estate's good. What way could I do it where it would allow me to use my influence? I would be fed by. So we started a short-term rental business. We went from 0 units to over 25 units in less than 18 months. And here's what it did. I'm not the one that ran it. We went and hired an operator. We put the operator in place. But the company was called Wake Up in Birmingham. I live in Birmingham, Alabama. And I started promoting it on my social media. We started talking about it on our podcast. I started telling friends, hey, if you're going to come into Birmingham, if you need to be here for whatever it is, a ball game, a hospital visit, family, we got a place. If your house burns down, it's hit by a tornado, or it's flooded, I got a place for you to stay. I could influence it. And so, yeah, it started producing net $25,000, $30,000 a month for us. It was feeding who I was. So why did I grow it to 25 units? Because I loved it. We did the first unit, and in the first 45 days, I was like, I think this is amazing. So investor DNA connects who we are to the things we're investing in. And when you connect those dots, you'll go a lot faster to investing, which accelerated my path to financial freedom.
Give us maybe like 4 more examples just so people can kind of understand. And I understand you're saying, look, we're going to help you figure out. And I love that because I 100% believe that you have to find your wheelhouse and which one of these areas of passive income work with you. But give us maybe 4 more that you help teach people about so people can get their mind wrapped around it.
Yeah, so I'll give you just more that we're doing and what I see in our community people doing. So one, our job is to teach and help you uncover who you are as an investor so you become a better investor, give you the frameworks, and then connect that. And we're not the expert in all things, so I won't say that. But one of the ones that we started doing, again, around the real estate space was we started buying and selling raw land, little vacant tracts of raw land. I'm not talking about stuff in like downtown Miami or San Francisco, like these infill lots that are worth millions and millions of dollars. I'm talking about a 1/4 acre in the middle of Nowheresville, New Mexico, right? There's nothing special about it. So someone owned it and they wanted to sell it because they were paying taxes on it and they never went to it. And so we typically buy it at 25 cents on the dollar, and then we turn around and sell that property on Facebook, Craigslist, and some of these land websites to someone who would like to have a place to go, whether it's park a trailer, drive their four-wheelers, go shoot rattlesnakes, whatever their thing is. There's a pig for every barn, basically. And we do it on monthly payments. So we owner finance it. So these are small tracts of land. We may buy one, Chantel, for $2,500 and turn around and sell it for $200 a month and $500 a month down for the next 4 to 5 years. And we've done that so thousands of times at this point to where our passive income from that one strategy alone is over $33,000 a month. So I have a note portfolio of over $2.5 million of where we bought these little pieces of raw land, turned around and sold it. They're paying us monthly income for those things. So that's just one way that's connected. Now, again, our gifting is not doing. Our gifting is learning things that we get excited about. How can we influence, and then how can we install an operator? I know all your business owners are like, yeah, I love that. So one, we learned how to do it ourselves so we could inspect what we expect out of it. Another one is, speaking of business owners, I love being able to come in and say, hey, I know my wheelhouse in business. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at sales. I'm not great at operations, but I can look and find where the constraints are and figure out how someone has gotten it to here can go to there. And so we have partnered with existing business owners to help them. And as a result, we've been able to create a partnership where we get equity in the business and we get monthly income checks from that operating company. So that's another very simple one that we do. One that many people in here probably have invested in is some form of syndication, where you pool your money with a lot of other people and you invest in some asset class that you like. We've invested in car washes. We've invested in multifamily. We've invested in self-storage, oil and gas type of things. This is where I use my gift of networking. I'm always telling people, not that I run a company called Wealth Without Wall Street. If they meet me on the side and say, what do you do, Russ? I say, I'm an investor. And so here's the upgrade for you immediately. If you want to become a great investor and you want to see opportunities, quit telling people I'm a real estate agent, I'm a business owner, I'm an architect, whatever your thing is, quit telling them that. Say, I'm an investor. I like investing in, fill in the things that you either are investing in or you want to invest in. And I promise you, deals will start coming to you. And so that's, the thing that most people make the mistake in, Chantel Ray, is that they believe that there's only one good deal out there. And so they're always looking for it. And when it comes, they pounce on it. And then if it doesn't work out, they go, man, I knew I should have just stayed in my lane, let somebody else invest my money for me. And then 8 years later, like you did, they realize, well, that wasn't even working for them. I say, no, that's not the case. A deal of the lifetime comes around twice a week. Let me say that again. A deal of the lifetime comes around twice a week. It's not until you learn how to become an investor and you start knowing what a good opportunity looks like and you start telling the world you're looking for them. Opportunities come all the time. My inbox is full of opportunities. It's my job then to know which one really is a good opportunity, which one are not.
I love that. Well, if you guys want to see this in action step by step, if you guys go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/Chantel Ray, they're going to get a free webinar. You guys get an ebook, an exact roadmap of what you can do to help these people kind of replace their active income with passive streams. Let's just end it right there and tell us, what haven't you told us that you definitely want listeners to understand?
That you can definitely do this. That a guy that grew up in a public school education with a mom was a school teacher and a dad was a general contractor, did not come from money, didn't learn money until I was forced to because I got in the field of finance. That you can do this. Everybody's told you that you couldn't do it, that you should just delegate it, but you've been successful. You've made a lot of money in what you're doing. This is something you can totally do. And this is something that you should do. This is something that will give you back more of what you want. And I think that just people need to be encouraged that finance is not scary, that becoming financially free isn't something that we shouldn't want. And it doesn't mean that we retire. I don't believe in retirement. I think that that's a new age word. But we should do things because we want to, not because we have to. Then we can serve way more people. So totally believe that you can do this. You just need to learn how to become a good investor and have a system. And we're happy to help if that's our job, or just point you to resources.
And I want to say one last thing when we close. I think one of the things that I love about what you're doing is that what you do is you help people figure out what kind of investment fits their personality and their goals, and not just chasing that next shiny object. And I'll give you an example, because I personally did just some hard money lending on some properties, and I was lending the money directly to the people, and my admin were having to deal with some of those people and making sure they paid on time and stuff like that. And then I changed it to where I was loaning the money to another company and they were handling everything, and I was still getting that return. And that worked for my personality. I didn't even want to deal with the people when they weren't paying. My admin was chasing them down, and they were coming to me and say, what should we do? This guy's not paying or whatever. So I figured out, okay, for my personality, yes, I can loan hard money, but I don't want to be the one in-house doing that. Does that make sense? So it's like, yes, it was passive income both ways, but one fit my personality and one was added an extra level of headache that I didn't want to take on.
Well, your profile is that you love people, right? Everybody who listens to this is because they love you. And so when someone comes to you with this heartache issue, you're like, oh, right? So that doesn't put us in a good position, even if we want to make the right financial decision and hold them to the contract that they sign. It made you feel off. And we like to delegate. Business owners like to delegate. That's the reason that you've been successful in your life. So it makes sense that you want to install an operator who knows what to do. You had an admin who was coming to you saying, what should I do? And now that personality trait is having to say, go do this. I hate that they're going to, this will be the result. So it makes total sense of connecting who you are to the thing that you're doing, so it gives you more of what you want.
I love it. Well, you guys go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/Chantel Ray. That's CHANTELRAY. And it's been amazing. I just love what you're doing, Russ, so much, and just so excited for what you're doing. So thank you for sharing this knowledge with everyone. And you guys stay tuned. We've got another episode coming up in just a few. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Real Life Leadership. If you'd like to get the show notes or access more resources, log on to reallifeleaders.com/podcast to get the show notes from this episode and any other resources we might have mentioned.